I don't know if anyone is there or not. Hush. It looks very quiet out in internet land. I think everyone is out busy doing Saturday Night Live things. Yeah. For or watching, well, that's good. I don't know who you are. If you're out there and you're watching, throw something in the chat so I can see who's there. This is just a very low-key live stream. I am down here at the Overlook. I'm by myself, with the exception of Jet the dog, who's down here on the floor beside me. Just thought I might jump on tonight, see what was happening, see if anybody is out there. Let's see. Well, now it says there's 5 people out there. I am still trying to figure out the whole StreamYard thing, so you'll have to excuse me as I sort of stumble my way through this. I am down here for the long weekend. It was my birthday on Friday, and so I came down here, and my wife was down here, but she's gone back. She's got a business thing she had to leave for this afternoon. So I'm just flying solo down here at the river and just thought I would check in, see if there was anybody out and about. It was a beautiful day, and I thought we would get a beautiful sunset here, but about the time I posted that I would be doing a live stream, the clouds came and the wind picked up, although the wind has died down some. So what do you got to do? What can you do? I've had a great weekend. I got to get in plenty of tractor time. Let's see, I worked on my rear blade a little bit, shot some video, so that's going to be upcoming. And I worked the road here at the Overlook for, probably 4 hours or something like that. So yeah, anyway, looking forward to creating some content about that. Still says there's 5 people watching. I don't know who those 5 people are, but I would invite you to drop something in the comments if you're around. Let me know I'm not talking to a computer and nothing else. Pardon me. It's the cocktail hour. That's good stuff. You want to know what that is? I'll show you. That is Angel's Envy bourbon. It's very good. Got a couple of ice cubes in there because that's how I roll. Yeah, good stuff. What did I do? I'll have videos coming up pretty soon. Mountaintop living. Hey, there's someone actually here. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I did a video not long ago about adding some hydraulics to my rear blade. I don't know if any of you guys saw that, but I ran into some issues when I did that with the clearance between the hydraulic hoses and the ROPS frame. So while I was down here, I discovered that you can go to Napa and they will make hydraulic hoses while you wait. So I just took the hoses that came in the kit because they had a little extra length, and I had them just lop the ends off and put some different ends on. So I didn't have any sort of adapters. I could just screw my little smaller connectors on. And I wasn't sure, but yes, it did fit. So now I've got my rear blade hooked up like I want. So I can put the top link back on the other valve, which is the float valve, because I don't need a float valve for the, the angling of the rear blade. And I took it out on the road, and I used the heck out of it this weekend. And as I said, I think there will be a video about that. So yeah, used that, and then came along with the box blade. And the road looked really good, I think. There's some potholes out there, and I filled the potholes. I didn't really fix the potholes because that requires you have to dig them out. You can't just run over them with a box blade because they're just going to come right back. And I've worked on these before, but apparently I didn't work on them hard enough. So that's probably going to be a separate video. I didn't really have time to do that this weekend. And you might hear my dog back there. He has a ball. Got the ball? Hey, you're live on TV. What do you think about that, huh? Good boy. Get the ball. Yeah, he's not spoiled or anything. But anyway, let's see. Can I give you a water view? I don't know. This is just, you can see the water out there a little bit. I don't have my good camera down here. Well, I do have my good camera down here, but I did not bring the things that would let me hook it up and try to do this, nor did I think about trying to bring a microphone. So I am speaking only through the microphone in the laptop here. So if the video and audio is good, maybe you could let me know that. David, is that hello? Welcome to the live stream. It is not radically exciting, but just I'm down here solo and thought I'd just jump on. It's Saturday night. I don't have a date, and there's nothing much great on TV. So here I am. Please don't eat that. Thank you. I have the clutches. Oh, good. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, look, sound is fine. Look, I'm trying to be like my man Ed, act like I know what I'm doing, which I don't really. This is all new to me. Let's see. So yes, remember, I am not as experienced as Ed, but okay. Thanks, David. I appreciate it. David, I don't know that I have seen you before. Where are you located? In Mountaintop Living, I feel like I should know where you are, but that escapes me. I am in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. I'm in Virginia, not far from the Chesapeake Bay, and this is our little slice of heaven. It is a very rustic. It is a classic river cottage. The way that they kind of used to be. Now people, if you have waterfront property, they build, palatial homes. This is not that, but it's really about the water. So, that's what it's all about. Let's see. Florida. Wow. Well, you're probably a little warmer than I am right now. Mountaintop Living. Yeah, you really do. You get those potholes, and the road that we have here, and I have a video up about the road from some time back, but there'll be a new one coming hopefully soon. Our road is about a mile long. It's a gravel road, and it's had over the years tons and tons of gravel put down. So it's really packed hard. I mean, the road's generally in really great shape, but these potholes sometimes come back. So if I work it when we haven't had any rain, trying to penetrate and break that hard pack is really difficult. I mean, I've got a pretty heavy box blade. It's an EA Wicked 66-inch blade, but I can put those scar fires down all the way, and it will just drag along right on top of the road. So I can use my loader, but I don't have a cutting edge on the bucket. It's just a standard edge. So I've been thinking that maybe I'm going to need to get some sort of teeth on the front of that to really break in and dig, because I really think that's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. But I thought I had them. I came down here right after the last snow and winter precipitation and attacked them pretty good. But apparently I did not dig down deep enough because, as I said, they've just kind of come right back. I'm on here. I'm checking around. Oh, there's 8 people. Wow, I feel like a real celebrity. So, yeah, I had a birthday on Friday, June the 2nd. And as I think we established in one of Ed's live stream, I am the old man, apparently. Yeah, I turned 61 on Friday. I don't feel like 61, but I don't know what that, how it's supposed to feel. Never been here before. Let's see. My wife and I went down to a nearby restaurant that sits right on the water. And you know what? I might even be able to show that to you. Let me see if I can do this. Share screen. How about this? Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, this is where we went out to eat. They got their own dock there. Neither one of those are my boats. My boat was left here at the house. But really good food. It's just a little tiny place. It sits up high off the water, and there is literally the public boat ramp right off the little balcony of this place. So you can go down there on a sunny Saturday afternoon and sit out there and have cocktails, and it's dinner and a show, because some people know what they're doing at a boat ramp and some people do not. So yeah, fun time. Yeah, it is a nice spot. Did I install a third function valve? I have not installed a third function. I did install the rear hydraulic remotes. And that was a bit of a project, but it did give me confidence. And I probably will install a third function. I've looked at them. I know there's several brands. There's a LR Long, there is a Summit, and then there's the Land Pride and a Kubota brand. And I think I have decided that I'm going to go ahead and install the Kubota third function. I really like the fact that uses hard hydraulic lines, and it kind of fits up inside the loader arms. I just kind of like the look and feel of it. I've communicated with a couple of folks that know a lot more than me. One of those is Ryan Lynch. He has a channel you may or may not have seen, but he's a Kubota tech, and he's always showing the various equipment that he's working on. Anyway, he kind of felt the same way, that would probably be the way to go. But the honest truth is I don't really have anything right now that I need that third function for. I would like to get a grapple, but in all honesty, that's a lot of money to spend, and I don't really have a huge use for it. I'm sure if I had one, just like pallet forks or anything else, I would find uses for it. But yeah, I don't have that much call for it. I find that I can move. I watch these videos of guys moving piles of brush with a grapple, and I find that if I'm a little careful when I stack brush up, I can pick up a huge pile of stuff, particularly limbs and things like that, with my pallet forks. And I have the big pile out here behind the house to prove it. So long-winded answer, I guess. But no, I have not installed the third function. But at some point, I'm probably going to do it, if for no other reason than it gives me some content. So 61. Noel. Just a young fellow. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You hit there 5 years ago. All right. Well, happy belated birthday to you too. Uh-oh. Somebody's getting jealous. What are you doing? I'm talking to somebody else right now. You're going to have to go away. Sit. Sorry. My dog is spoiled. You may have seen him in some videos. He likes to interact with dogs. There have been some couple of little shorts that I did where if he sees a dog or an animal on the TV, you would think he was going to jump in the TV. He barks and hollers, and he just wants to play, but he sounds like a holy terror. So I'm at like the rear function. Did I install the rear? Yes, I did install the rear hydraulic remotes. I have an Kubota LX 2610. ROPS model. And I did install the rear hydraulic remotes. I've got 3 videos really to talk about that. One where I installed the 2 hydraulic valves for the rear remotes. Another little short one where I talk about the difference between the valves. There's just a regular valve and then a float detent valve. So I talk about those a little bit. And then I did one that covered the top link. I eventually am going to put a hydraulic side link on as well. But I talk about that in that video, that the top link is pretty universal. All you need to know really is whether you've got a category 1 or 2 or 3 3-point, and then you just need to know how big is it supposed to be when it's closed, and how long is it when it's extended. And there's lots of places you can go and buy a top link. The side links tend to be much more specific to the geometry of the 3-point on a specific tractor. So I think when I looked up my top link through, I think the Messick's website, I think there was like 90 models that the top link fit. And that's just the standard top link, not the hydraulic one, but just the regular one that comes on the tractor. It's used on like 90 models. But the side link was only used on about 16 or 19, some of which are iterations of the LX2610. The B2601 uses the same one. So that side link from Kubota and or Land Pride, that's about a $600 part. And so what I think I'm going to do is just buy a generic side link that is close to the right size. And then I'm going to take my original side link and just cannibalize it and try to weld up a side link and just fabricate it. And if it doesn't work, well, eventually I'll get the right one. I don't think, let's see here. Everyone thinks that I need a grapple too. Forks have worked so far for me also. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'd love to have a grapple. Just, the idea of using those front hydraulics, I like that idea. But yeah, I agree. My the pallet forks have worked fine. There's been very few times when I thought, man, I really wish that I had a grapple. So, oh, the card that I sent to Dave, yeah, that was a really sad thing. I talked about my dog barking at the TV screen, and I did a couple of shorts where he was barking at Dave's dogs, and so that's kind of been a thing between he and I back and forth online. And I just, it always made me happy to see him and the 2 dogs. And, I know that he's there, and those 2 are his companions. I think he mentioned in the video that he has been through a divorce, and so he's there just with the dogs. And, Jet's predecessor was Saber, who was also a lab. He was a chocolate lab. And we had him for 12 years, which is the same that Dave had Scotty. And I'm not going to talk about the day that he left here too much, but I was holding him in my lap when he left. And so I really felt for Dave. So I just went through a couple of his videos, and I found, was able to capture a still image, and you know what, I may have it. Hang on here. Let me see if I can try this one more time. Let's see. Yeah. So that was the image that I captured out of Dave's video. That's Scotty, I believe, on the right, and Ruby on the left. And you can see Dave in the background. This was just one of his own videos that I captured that out of. And, I don't know Dave in real life, just through the internet, but I thought since there'd been so much interaction between my dog and his dogs, it would be nice for my dog to send him a note. So I was glad he got it. I hadn't expected him to make a video out of it. It was, I don't mind that he did. In fact, I was thrilled that he did, but I was really happy that he didn't know what was in the video, that he didn't know what was in the envelope, and that he actually opened it as he was recording. I just thought that made it pretty touching. And so, yeah, I was glad to do that. So, but thanks for commenting about that. So let's see, what else can I tell you? Anything else going on down here? Oh yeah, I can. I worked on the road. I told you about that. Also, recently did a video where I, let's see if I can, hang on here. I'm getting sidetracked. There we go. Yeah, I did a video where I had purchased a brush bowl, Woods brush bowl rotary cutter. And I did bring it down here and I did get to use it. But when I did that, I was very short on time, so I didn't try to film anything. And so today I was going to make a video adding another part, another option to the brush bowl. And then I realized that I'd come down here and I'd left some of the stuff I needed to make that happen at my home back in Richmond. But I still wanted to use the brush bowl. And there's a piece of property down here that is, I don't know, it's apparently vacant or somebody's on a long absence. I don't know. So a friend that I know down here got in touch with the owner and said, hey, do you care if somebody comes over and cuts it? So I took the brush bowl over there and got to run the rotary cutter. And so that was fun. And I did shoot some video with that too. So hopefully that'll be another video in the pipeline. I'm very sporadic about content. As if you've followed this channel at all, you probably know that. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. There's a boat going down the river. But yeah, you know what? I do this as a hobby, and you know, I've got a job and family, and I've got a 91-year-old mother that I have to look after. So content has to, you know, take a backseat to all of that. I enjoy doing it, but I'm not married to it. I really am impressed by these guys that can publish every week, or some of these guys, like, you know, I know Mike Morgan does that now as his job, and so he can commit more time to it. But holy cow, man, that guy, he is a machine. So hats off to him. Checking comments here. Yeah, the only way is to dig below the bottom of the puddle. Yes, that's exactly right. At least everything that I read and have seen, I've done some research on that, and that's exactly right. That, you know, there's this hard pan, and you know, it has to do with the water getting in there, and the soil shrinks and swells and shrinks and swells, and eventually you get this hard surface at the bottom, and then water collects, and so the pothole forms around that. And I think there's probably a lot more science to it than that, but yeah, in a nutshell, that's the deal. And so, as I said, the road is just very hard, and with just a front end loader, with no cutting edge on the front, that is a challenge to make happen. I'm planning to install a road with a box blade. Use gravel or milling. Well, I tell you, I am not an expert in putting in a new road. My only real experience, you know, I've cut some paths minimally, and I work on this road, but the road was well established before I took over doing it. So I'm not really familiar with the properties of millings. I know if you I don't know how long or wide or what type of road you're talking about. Most people will tell you that the best way to do it, I think, though, is to, you know, clear the path for your road, grade it, and then put down that it's not landscaping cloth. There's a term for it. It escapes me right now, but there's a material that they put down. I know, speaking of Mike Morgan, I know he's probably got several videos on it, and maybe Courtney at Goodworks Tractor talked about that a little bit. But, you know, then I think there is probably some science about maybe putting down some larger stone and then coming back and putting something a little smaller on top. But again, I'm not an expert, so take anything I say with a grain of salt. Yeah, that's right. geotech. That's the stuff that I hear folks talking about all the time. So yeah, oh, I've got 9 people watching. Woo! So, well, I'll throw it out there too. Not that this is going to have much impact on my channel, but if you can hit that thumbs up, that would be appreciated if you find this at all enjoyable. Pardon me. What's my time doing here? Well, I've been chatting at you for about half an hour. I'm not going to go a long time. I know it's Saturday night. People probably have a real life and more fun things to do. But, I'm just out here having a good time, enjoying the view. If I had a better setup and if I had better internet, I would do this from actually down on the pier. But we just had high-speed internet installed down here. This community has been here for 50 plus years. And just in the last 6 months, we were able to get high-speed internet via fiber optic cable down here. The county considered this an underserved community because it's a mile off the main road. And it was very expensive to try to bring it down in here. But we were fortunate enough that one of the residents down here applied for, and we received a grant. So, hey, Kent, good to see you. Yeah, they applied for a grant and we qualified for it. So initially we were looking at thousands of dollars per resident. And there's maybe, I should know this, I was the head of the HOA for a while, but it's probably about 30 homes down in here. And yeah, then they were talking about, all right, well, we're going to get it into the neighborhood, but it's still going to cost you like $1,200 to get the hookup from the fiber, from the road out to your house. And eventually they overcame all of that. So basically they brought it in, they brought it right up into the house, and we're just paying a monthly fee, and it's really good. But I do have wireless, but it doesn't extend all the way down onto the pier. So I'd be with just my phone signal and trying to do this with my phone. I've tried it before, and I'm challenged enough with sitting here on my laptop. So doing it on my phone, I don't think that would work too so well. Let's see. Hang on, I'm reading some comments. I use what we call rock dust, pea gravel. And now do you, okay, so Noel, do you use that on a road, or are you talking about a driveway? And if so, do you use that as the road bed and just keep piling it up, or, laying it in there? How does that work? Mountaintop Living, thanks for coming by. I appreciate you being here. And yeah, you have a good night. Thanks for checking in. Let's see. Pea gravel. I wonder if that's anything like what we would call a crush and run, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know about you guys, but I was devastated this week when there was, or I guess it was, well, yeah, it was this week, that Ed did not do a live stream. I cried. Okay, no, I didn't. I understand he had a problem with a guest, and certainly understand that. And Ed deserves a night off. There's no question about that. So I say that fully tongue in cheek. Driveway. Keep putting it on every other year. I got you. Yeah. It's funny. I work the road down here, but I really need to do something with well, we don't really even have a driveway here. This is an old style river cottage. So basically the driveway are the tire marks where we, drive in over and over and over and over. At some point, my grandfather, who originally lived here, did have some gravel, but it was very light and not very thick at all. And now we've got lots of roots coming up through there. So even if I were to try to get rock put down and hit it with a box blade, I don't know how I'd get some of those roots out because they're giant. Oh, Gary is here. Oh, how you doing, Gary? Nice to see you. Hope things are good out in, I think, Iowa. Is that right? I think. Let's see here. Yeah. So I thought about using some sort of what I would call pea gravel or river rock, something round, just because we're out here. It's a river place. You're out with your bare feet, and so maybe the sharp gravel, maybe not so much, but I don't know. That's low on my priority list. There's a long list of things that have to happen down here. Primarily, we have an erosion problem. Our bank out here on the water, we have about probably a 25 foot drop. So we have steep stairs that go down to the pier, and then stairs from the pier down to the beach. And it's not much of a beach, but over the years we have had a lot of erosion just due to tides, and whether you think the water level is coming up or not, it doesn't matter. We got a lot of erosion going on. And here in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, they are very strict about what you can do on the shoreline. The Chesapeake Bay over the years into the 70s and 80s it was sick. A lot of water life was dying off, and just there were a lot of issues. And so they clamped down on a lot of stuff. And I know some people don't agree with that, but the health of the bay has radically improved. Oyster populations are coming back. And so anyway, you have to, there's a lot of permitting as far as what you can do, but we're going to basically have to have the hill shaved off. So we've probably got 100 feet of shoreline out there, and they're going to have to come in with heavy equipment and just cut that bank so the angle is not as steep. It's going to have to be cut by about half, which means we'll lose, I don't know, maybe 20 feet off the top of the hill. And then the stairs of the pier will have to be rebuilt. And, you're talking many tens of thousands of dollars to get that done. So, again, that's another thing that's going to have to wait to be done. Oh, the Black Hills. No cell service. We'll definitely miss you guys. It is tomorrow night. Well, I'm glad you're getting us now. Say hello to the 4 presidents for me. I don't know if you're up there, maybe going to Sturgis or just doing some sightseeing, but the Black Hills is someplace that is on my bucket list. I used to have a Harley and always thought I'd get up there that way. I don't have that bike anymore, but sometimes I think there might be one more left in me. And if so, I would like to ride the Black Hills because I know it's beautiful country up there. Checking comments. Don't want to miss anything. So, yeah, I'd love to know what you're doing. Oh, nice shirt. Yeah, this is from my dealer Huber. I've talked about them before. They were the folks that put together the calendar, hashtag Mr. February. And so, yeah, I go up there. You got to wonder sometimes, are you spending more money than you should be if your Kubota salesman calls you and says, hey, can you come by? And he just gives you like a handful of T-shirts and stuff like that. So no, I kid. My salesman is Eugene up at Huber in Ashland, Virginia. He is a great guy. He's done, real well by me. Some of you may have seen in my very first video when I bent my top link. I won't rehash the whole thing. You can watch the video. It's short. But I called him and let him know, and he just said, "Come on up here. I've got one sitting on my desk waiting for you." I didn't have to buy a new one. He just provided that for me. So, yeah. Well, I could do that. I'd have to fill up the bucket with cash so I could just keep putting diesel in it and hotel bills, because it would probably take me till Christmas to get there. And I don't know if you can see this, but my dog is now trying to give me the ball. I don't want the ball. All right, I'm doing something. Drop it. Thank you. All right, go get it. That just means he's going to bring it back. He's a good fella. So, Here's a question. You can throw this in the comments. Is anybody out there watching the TV show Ted Lasso? I think it's on Apple TV, which I don't have, but my son does, so I got to watch it through that. I'm not a big follower of, go away, please. I'm not a follower of soccer in real life, but it is a really good show. I highly recommend it. We had a great time. No, I'm doing something. He's an attention hog. That's what he is. Yeah. You've already had your dinner. I'm talking to these good people right here. Yeah, that's me you're seeing on the TV right there. He's a little confused. I have never seen a dog that is more visually cued as this dog right here. Sounds, he could care less. I had him at my friend's tree farm. There's a video of that out there somewhere. We've got a shooting range out there, and we can be out there shooting anything from a 22 to an AR, and doing some target shooting. He's unfazed. Sounds, fireworks, he could care less. But you let a fly land across the room, and he's going to see it. And like I said, any animal on TV, he is going to definitely check it out. So, I hear geese. I don't know if you can hear those or not. So, yeah, it has definitely cooled off. It was sunny and hot today, but it has. Is it Jet or Jet? His name. His name is Jet. Jet. The story behind my dog's names. My father was a fighter pilot in the Air Force back in the 1950s. He volunteered for the Air Force during Korea. And so he went in. They had a program at the time called the Air Cadet Program, where someone who did not have a college degree or was not an officer could apply for this program. And if they qualified and they tested into it, they could attempt to become a pilot. And so that's what my dad did. He trained and eventually became, as I said, a fighter pilot. He flew the F-86 Sabre jet. And so by the time he got his wings, they had stopped the war in Korea. The armistice had been signed. And so Dad became a Cold Warrior. They trained to fight Russia, basically, or the Soviet Union. And basically, they flew the F-86H, which was bigger than the previous Sabres and more powerful. And it fulfilled a role as a fighter bomber. And they trained to deliver tactical nuclear weapons from their F-86 Sabre jets. And that's some pretty crazy stuff if you dig into that history. The way they delivered the bombs, they would fly up and reach a certain point and release the warhead and then just go over the top and dive back down to the ground and scoot away to try to avoid as much of the blast as they would come. I think it was called LABS, L-A-B-S. I don't know what the acronym was, but anyway, to get back to my dog. So the first lab that we had, the chocolate lab, was Sabre, named after those aircraft. And I already knew that the next dog that we had would be named Jet, which he is. And it worked out because we set out to get another chocolate lab, but he ended up being black. And so Jet Black, that it just works. So, yep, that's the name. Let's see. Oh, hey, there's our man, Ed. Just saw the notification. Well, glad you could stop in. It is not up to the level of some others, Ed, but glad that you could make it. Let's see here. We're talking about nothing in particular, but Air Force aircraft. Let's see. We visited the Air Force Museum, Boxlight Air Force Base out here. Got some video of an F-86. Just well, that's awesome. I do love the F-86. I know I'm partial to it. My father broke the speed of sound in it 7 years after Chuck Yeager did it. I've always been kind of proud of that. And So yeah, I just think it's a beautiful jet. It's the last of the gunfighters. You know, after that, everything was kind of, you know, you shoot your enemy before you see them, and which is probably better, but you know, my romanticized version of things. Um, so yeah, I love the F-86. I spent a lot of time trying to find a jet that my dad actually flew. Um, and I, I don't think any of them exist. As it turns out, there is an aircraft on static display at an airport about 100 miles from where I live. And it it may have been on the same air base as he was. Um, I have a record of some of the aircraft he flew, but not all. So that's about the closest possibility. There are no airworthy versions of the F-86H that he flew. There are F-86As and Fs and Es and Ds, but none of the H models that he flew. Let's see. I got a question here. Watch your video several times about installing rear remotes on the 2610. How difficult is it really? Dealer wants $1,000. Well, that not off topic at all, and that's a great question, Kent. I got to tell you, you watch my video and you see me when I stumble and where I have issues. The only thing I really had to go on was a video from Ryan Lynch. You might be familiar with this channel, where he did it. He was starting on a tractor that hadn't been delivered, so it wasn't fully assembled yet. So it was lots of parts were off of it, like the fender was not attached, and you know, as Ryan does things, he's at work, so he's not really trying for production value. So he really just kind of sets up a camera and goes to work. So I learned a lot from that video, but there were some details that, you know, really weren't in that video. And so it gave me the confidence just watching him do that to know that I felt like it was something I could take on. But I decided that I would try to do it and make a video where I showed everything. Having done it one time and knowing what I know now, I think I could do it again. And I don't think it would take, but particularly if I wasn't trying to make a video, maybe 2 or 3 hours, and I think I would be done. It's not a hard job. If you were to do it, I'll say this, the ROPS model is different from the cab. The cab is more involved. But if you have a ROPS model LX2610, I would definitely say, go ahead and take that fender off, particularly if you're installing 2 valves, not one. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to do it, you might as well put them both in there while you're in there doing it. But yeah, it was a little difficult to kind of understand the instructions. You know, I'm looking at the pictures and I'm not reading word for word like I should, but that's just me. But yeah, I think if you're competent with basic stuff, that was the first thing I'd ever done with any hydraulic stuff at all. And I managed to put it all together and nothing leaked. The valves all work fine. And I'll tell you, having put that hydraulic top link on that tractor, I don't know how I got along without it. I tell everybody I know that has a tractor, you should definitely get those rear remotes and put a hydraulic top link. I have a video where I made a fool of myself trying to hook up the quick hitch to my box blade. And I tell you, since that alone, when I go to hook up an attachment now with my quick hitch, it is a breeze always, every time. And so I can't recommend it enough. And so, yeah, I think it's probably something you could definitely do. Hopefully my video would be helpful. And I would recommend checking out Ryan's video too. And in my video, there is a link to his. So I'd say, you know, tackle it, go for it. Let's see, going to read some comments here. Oh, thank you, Noel. Great story. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm proud of my dad. He was kind of my hero. All right, Gary, thanks for stopping in. See, you got to scoot, but hey, it's Saturday night. I'm sure most people have something better to do than this. But yeah, not a tough job. I highly recommend it. Ed, if you're still here, inquiring minds want to know, how is your wrist? Is it healing up nicely? Pain level subsided some? We would love to know. John. How nice. Yeah. I'll some of you may have seen, if you have received mail from me, you would have either gotten a card that has Watershed Overlook on the front, or it would have a picture of a saber on it. I know Dave at RCAF Polar Express, in one of his shout outs, when I sent him some stickers, I sent him, and I know Luke has the card posted on the inside lid of his, Luke at Orange is My New Green. He has the card posted on the inside of his toolbox. You see that oftentimes, with a picture of the saber. And I'm not prepared to show that right here because I didn't think about it beforehand. But if I do this again, maybe I'll show it. It's a piece of artwork that I had commissioned. I went into my dad's logbooks and I got the serial numbers on the jet that he flew, and I had the markings of the squadron, and I contacted an artist who created a piece of artwork which shows the jet as he flew it on a particular day in 1952 or 3. And I gave that to my dad for Christmas one year, and it was a beautiful thing. He cried, I cried, and yeah, it was something. So I incorporate that artwork in other stuff as well. So yeah. Oh, I see some other folks I know. Hello, Margaret. I know you're from New Jersey. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Saturday night. You might be there with Ed for all I know. Let's see. Good night, David. Thanks for stopping in. Definitely appreciate you being here. Let's see. Wrist is improving. Still hurts. 4-week follow-up this upcoming week. Well, glad to hear it. You have still been putting stuff out, so we have been enjoying that. What was the video? Oh, the water. Yeah, that was a neat trick. Yeah, some of that hardware I've never even seen before. So you must have made a strolling trip through Home Depot or something, or maybe you do more plumbing work than I do. But your timing was great, Ed, because I don't know if you saw, but you did a thing on getting water out of an IBC tote, and so did Mike Morgan. His video today or yesterday, I think, was basically the same thing. He was doing some watering out of a IBC tote, although he was using a gas-powered pump to get it done. Happy birthday, Eve. Oh, let's see here. Happy birthday, Eve, to Anne. Oh, so Ed's wife is about to have her birthday, so I guess she and I are very close together, although I'm probably older than Anne. As we have learned from Ed's live stream, I'm ancient. Everybody else are young people, and I'm old and decrepit. Twin Brook Acres, nice to have you aboard. Just here killing a little time at the Overlook. It's a Saturday night. I'm here with the dog and nobody else. My wife was here earlier. My birthday was mentioned earlier. My birthday was Friday night. Okay, it was all day Friday. But my wife came down. We went out to dinner. I showed a picture a little while ago. Maybe I'll post that again. There's a few new people here. So let's see. Basically, I'm just doing this because I can. Here we go. Yeah. So this was our dinner view last night. This is a little restaurant downriver from us. So we had a very nice dinner and enjoyed that immensely. Okay, come back to that. Yeah. There we go. Oh, more comments. My dad drove a Sherman tank in World War II. The tank on display only 15 minutes away from me, Canadian Army. Wow. Well, that's awesome, Noel. Truly, that is the greatest generation. You know, I have a son who's in the Air Force right now. I've talked about him before. He is now serving as an instructor where he went to tech school. He's at Fort Meade, Maryland. But previously, in his first duty assignment, he was with the 1st Combat Camera Squadron, which is based in Charleston, South Carolina, but they travel all over the world. And his job, he was an airborne photojournalist. So he qualified as air crew, and he traveled the world documenting the missions of the Air Force. The ComCam tells the story of the Air Force in a public affairs role, and also to provide intelligence and information to command and decision makers. So he was there to document training. He has combat mission airtime, and he will get to wear wings on his uniform for the duration of his Air Force career. But I think about, well, to tell a little further, ComCam will do what they call TDY, which is a temporary duty. So they would fly out for a 2 or 3 week assignment somewhere in the world, and then come back, and they would work in Charleston for several months, and then do that all over again. And then occasionally they would do a full 6-month deployment. And he's been all over the world. He has flown in F-15s, F-16s, B-52 bombers, tankers, helicopters, all sorts of stuff, all in the role of ComCam. But it is amazing when I think about, when he's in, a country in the desert of the Middle East, or if he's in Afghanistan or wherever he happens to be, we can still communicate as long as there's cell service. We can just pick up the phone and, I don't try to call him, but he can call, and we can literally speak to one another over the phone. And, I think about even when my father was in the Air Force, long distance was a proposition. He was in the States, but, that was expensive, and God forbid if you were overseas. And I think about, the guys that were in Easy Company. You've seen probably Band of Brothers, and there's been a lot of other stuff about those guys. And you think about the sheer misery, just the awful conditions that those guys survived in for months on end, bitter cold and wet, and just losing body parts. And our military, I'm not saying that it's easy, but man, we've come such a long way from what that time was. So those guys that served in World War II, I mean, just the rate of loss, throwing waves of people against an enemy. Man, my hat is off to all of those guys. And, there's not that many of them left. So hats off to your dad, Noel. That's awesome. Got to check some comments here. Where is my yacht? Well, I tell you, I don't have a yacht. I have a John boat that's sitting on a trailer behind the house, and I have a 19-foot center console, which is down on the boat lift. We did have a bigger boat at one time. I had a small, I guess you'd call it a cabin cruiser. It had a fly bridge, a Silverton. We kept in a marina not too far from here. But we don't have that anymore. That was, I don't know if you can see this. My dog is trying to climb into my lap because he's spoiled. So I don't have a big boat now. I have a center console. I miss it. And maybe one more before I die. I would like to cruise down the Intercoastal Waterway. That's just kind of a bucket list thing. So I don't know. I'm always watching the classifieds, but there is no immediate plan for such a thing. Ross on the land. Hello, Ross. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. That was the table moving because my 100-pound dog decided to lay down against the table leg. So, Ross, I watched your video today where you were taking apart that Wallenstein shredder, and that was pretty amazing. I mean, those blades look like they had just come off the assembly line. I don't know what sort of steel they make those things out of, but that was really, really impressive. That's another attachment that I don't have a ton of use for, but I do have a big pile of brush back here. And I think, you know what? I keep my eye out, particularly on Marketplace, for used stuff. like I did with that Woods brush hog. I think I got a good deal on that. And so I am looking right now. Actually, I'm looking for a rear, a 3-point post hole digger. And people have very mixed opinions on whether you should ever have one of those or not. I've seen a couple of places list that as the worst attachment for a tractor, and I could see why it would be problematic. But I think if you have a setup, I think people make these sort of rigs where you can hang it and make it hooking it up a little easier. But I would like to put up a fence down here. We had one many years ago, and it just wore out, and I pulled it all down. But there are some other dogs that tend to roam down here, and just to keep everybody happy, and good fences make good neighbors. I would like to put up a fence, and so that post hole digger would be very nice. Particularly here, it's just sandy soil, so people buy them and then don't use them, and so they put them up for sale. But I find myself pretty picky if I'm going to buy something like that. So I haven't found the right one yet, but I'm looking. I keep my eye out for a rake. I wouldn't mind one of those too, but I also have to be mindful that I don't want this place to look like an implement sales yard. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. My dad was an aircraft photographer in World War II on a ship. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure. So I wonder if that's someone who was photographing our own aircraft, or if that's someone who was identifying and photographing enemy aircraft. I don't know. But I bet you probably have some interesting photographs to share, maybe. New comments. Got to get ready for any dinner show. All right. Well, Kent, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is, I'm coming up on an hour, and I think I'm going to take a lead from Ed. I'm not going to go much past an hour. This has been very fun. And if I knew how to do Ed's trick with the countdown, I'd give away some stickers, but I don't know how to do that. So, yeah, I'll have to figure that out beforehand. But yeah, this has been fun. I appreciate everybody stopping in, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. Oh, wait a minute. I see. Noel is chiming in here. Let's see. Postal digger would be handy. I'd like to have one. Rake would be good too. Yep. Yes. 2 interesting photographs. Yeah. Well, maybe you can share those with Ed, and then we can share those. I'd say share them to me, but I don't know when the next time I will do this is. This is very impromptu. But yeah, anyway, like I said, just thought I was down here by myself. Thought I would just give this a try. I am not as smooth or as polished as Ed, but he probably wasn't as polished as he is the first time he did it either. So I'm going to give myself a break. But this has been fun. I appreciate everybody being here, and I look forward to hopefully seeing everybody on Ed's live stream, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Monday night. Thanks everybody for stopping in. I'm going to give my dog some attention because he's just apparently dying to get some. So I guess that's going to do it for me. As a good friend of mine says, I appreciate you being here, and hope we see you next time.